Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is dcopplcsw and I'm a licensed independent clinical social worker in both Massachusetts and Virginia. Welcome to Therapy Thursday. Today's topic is grief. Grief is a really tough topic, and I think at this point, with as long as COVID's been going along, a lot of us are experiencing symptoms of grief. Grief doesn't necessarily just have to be because somebody has passed away. Certainly we think of grief a lot when it comes to death, but grief can also be, the loss of a relationship. It can be, so like a divorce, a breakup. Grief can also come into play when circumstances, change, whether it's, you move away from friends that you care about, move to a new location, changing jobs, losing a job. There's so many different things that can cause grief in our lives. With COVID, just the loss of the celebrations that we haven't been able to have. So there's been, graduations and, people's weddings and, anniversaries and birthdays. And so people are having grief feelings around the loss of being able to celebrate these occasions. And some people are even having grief around not being able to be with just friends and family that they care about. All of those can lead to feelings of grief. So Elizabeth Kubler-Ross was kind of the founding person around grief. Her book came out in 1969, and it's actually still very much used today. So her stages, she has 5 of them. So it's denial, anger, bargaining, sadness, and acceptance. And then there is another gentleman, Mr. Kessler, who came along, and he added a 6th one called finding meaning. So I want to go back and let's look at denial. So denial is kind of, when things are fresh, we tend to have that feeling of denial. I know when my own mom passed away, I remember distinctly going to the store the next day after she had died and looking around and seeing just everybody bustling about like everything was the same, like nobody's life had changed. And I truly felt like my life had gone through this cataclysmic change, that I was never going to be the same again. And yet everybody else, as I looked around, was just going about their day. And I remember like thinking that and thinking like, why doesn't anybody else realize how much the earth has changed now that my mom's not in it? So that's a little bit of denial, but I think also just denial like that, you wanting to go call them, forgetting that it actually happened, or, feeling like in denial that it's really occurred, that really that loss is there. Anger, after my mom passed away, I had a lot of anger towards her oncologist. 3 weeks before she died, she had an appointment, and the oncologist said she had years left, because my mom specifically asked, am I at the end? And I was very angry at him. I felt a lot of anger that, he wasn't aware enough of where she was at, or, his, in my mind, like lack of being a good oncologist. It wasn't his fault. I think my mom was done, and he still had other options that he thought we could use. But that was kind of my own anger towards my mom's situation. And so you can feel anger at the person who passed away. You can feel anger at like those that were supposed to take care of them. You can feel anger at yourself for how, if it's a breakup or a job loss, just anger in general. Bargaining is where you kind of try to kind of almost like play games like with, kind of like you're literally bargaining, like, God, don't take the person I love, and I'll, keep going to church, or I'll go back to church, or, that you kind of try to bargain your way out of, that let this not be real, I'll whatever. That's bargaining. The next one is sadness, or kind of a depression, where it's really starting to sink in and you're just really feeling like that just that loss and just that overwhelming sense of just being sad. The next one is acceptance. And so that's when you start to kind of recognize that life continues and you're kind of moving on and seeing life, this new life, without, whether it's the person, the job, the move, whatever. You're kind of beginning to grasp that this is kind of your new normal and you move forward. And then the last one, like I said, the newer one is the find meaning. And so finding meaning is kind of, seeing the loss and being able to find the good in it and move ahead with kind of a new direction or a new sense of purpose in kind of what you're doing. And so that's going to look different for everybody. Grief is sloppy and messy because these stages are not like one after the other. I know in my own experience, like I would have denial, anger, sadness, acceptance, possibly all on the same day. And it's just this messy circle kind of all throughout them, back and forth, back and forth. Grief is messy. And really the only thing that kind of makes grief better is time. Time it's painful, but it's what kind of helps you to kind of move forward, is kind of just continuing day by day. I tell people all the time when they're in grief feelings that time is the best healer. And it's also so important when you're having grief feelings to allow yourself to feel the grief feelings. You are going to have these feelings and you're going to experience them, whether you allow yourself to do it currently when it's happening, or whether you push it all down, it's going to come back up in another time and you're going to grieve later. And generally speaking, when you stuff it down, later it comes back and it's almost like intensified, because usually it'll be another loss that will kind of trigger those feelings, and they can be even worse. So grief is something to just allow yourself to kind of process through. Okay? I thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you like my content, please hit the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube and you'll be notified when new videos post. Thanks so much and have a great day. Don't forget to also give me some ideas for future topics. Happy Thursday.